Hi, and welcome to the Platinum Business Break podcast. And we are so glad you're here. And today's episode is The Way Business Should Be, Part 10. Spin-off non-core products and services. Okay, it's season 3, episode 19. Yeah, some of you are going, okay, I'm not sure what he means there. So what we're saying on this particular episode, this is kind of a continuation of our episode 18, the previous one. We were talking about not getting distracted from the core focus of your business. So many times I see companies do that. So what we're going to talk about today is when is it time to spin off or start a separate company of non-core products or services so it doesn't interrupt your core business, okay? So again, this is season 3, episode 19 of the Platinum Business Break podcast, and it is sponsored by Platinum Business Consulting. You know, we help small to medium-sized businesses become world-class organizations. It's easy, and we could show you how. So we're going to jump right in. So when to start a separate business? And one of the things that I often think about is either delusion or delusion, okay? I know it kind of sounds the same. You don't want to dilute your core brand or your core business. Plus, you don't want to have any delusions that you're going to make something fit, okay? That's why I say no dilution or delusion, all right? And oftentimes what I hear is the word bolt-on. It's like, a company says, hey, we've got this really cool acquisition. And it's a great bolt-on business. So a bolt-on business, what it is, it's a tuck-in acquisition is what the private equity guys say, where the acquiring company merges the acquired company into a division. Okay, again, that's according to Investopedia, that definition. That doesn't always work. Again, I've seen businesses try to attach or bring in businesses that don't quite fit. And again, as the picture shows above, it's a little bolt-on thing. Yeah, that looks like that's going to fall off, especially if times get tough, the road gets rocky. That bolt-on business is going to fall off. It's going to fail, right? So, we're going to talk about that in this episode. All right. So, with that, I'm going to give you not one, not two, but 10 reasons why a business might choose to spin off a product or service to a separate operating division or separate company. All right. So the first one, really obvious, is focus and specialization. Concentration on core competencies. By spinning off a product or division, a company can concentrate on its core competencies in main business areas. This allows for better focus and specialization, potentially leading to improved efficiency and competitiveness. Now, part of where I see this come in is where you're bringing a new product type that's number one, it's completely different than your core brand or core service. Two, it goes to market a little bit different. It's the distribution channel or sales channel is different, which means then you've got your existing team who's supposed to be focused on your core, which let's call it your cash cow, right? And all of a sudden now they got this little bolt-on, this little extra business, and it's taking resources, okay, and it starts breeding confusion. So that's why you need to maintain the focus on your core brand and let this specialization, this unique or this different type of spinoff, kind of do something different. Strategic alignment, number 2. Strategic focus. A spinoff can align with the company's overall strategic objectives. It allows the parent company to focus on the primary goals, while the spun-off entity can pursue a different strategic direction without affecting the core business. And again, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about when you're diluting things. For example, you have a company that brings in a not quite good fit product, but yet you start using all the some companies say shared services. You start using marketing and IT and the sales force and customer service and order management, all those, and all of a sudden they have to learn this new bolt-on business. They have to learn this new different type of product or service. And what happens? It dilutes it, and also it causes confusion. So and the alignment gets off. Because it's like, hey, we're supposed to be focusing on what we're very good at or what made us good. Now we're looking at this other type of product. Yeah, it was profitable when we bought it, but it doesn't quite fit in. All right, I hope this is making sense. Some people are going to push back on this, but I'm going to get a little more specific as we go on. Financial performance, value creation. A spinoff can unlock hidden value. If a business has a distinct segment with different growth rates or risk profiles, separating them can make a value of each segment more transparent to investors, potentially resulting in higher overall market valuation. Now, that's obviously for a publicly traded company. Now, I worked for a privately held company And again, same kind of thing. They brought in a product that was just different enough. It didn't really fit in the distribution channel. The sales force really didn't understand it. Plus, the company that they brought in, it was a me too of a very crowded space. So all of a sudden, all these resources went into this new product or product type. And this product ultimately almost sank the company. I mean, this product was a drain on the cash. Now, they had two or three other product types that were related, that were their core, that were their true cash cow. I mean, these were money makers. Well, this new product that they brought in, this third product line, sucked the cash out of the company because they didn't quite understand the business. One, two, the people weren't bought in, and three, it was a highly competitive marketplace. There wasn't enough margin in it as they went out to the marketplace to sustain that new entity. So financial performance is very important. So to keep it separate, it would have been apparent from the beginning to do something different. Okay, number 4, capital allocation. Optimizing capital structure. Okay, spinoff can help optimize the capital structure of both entities. Each can tailor its financial policies and capital expenditures to specific needs, potentially leading to improved financial performance. Anyway, this is kind of a continuation of number 3. So again, in the example I was giving, this third product or service type that came in that wasn't a good fit was draining resources, was draining a lot of money. And again, so for example, on the products that are making money, you can't do anything to enhance or improve those products because you've got all this capital allocation trying to save or subsidize. Actually, is probably the correct word. This bolt-on business that's not a good fit. Right, number 5, market perception. Enhanced market perception. A spinoff can create a positive market perception, especially if the spun-off entity is better positioned to thrive independently. This can attract investors and positively impact stock prices. Again, referring to a publicly held company. But the reverse is true too. A lot of times, a new spin-off, if it's not, or let me put it this way, if a product is not spun off and it's you're trying to integrate it into your existing product and service as your core, it could actually have the reverse. People could start getting confused. They go, why are they in that business? Or you're trying to get customers who normally wouldn't use that product or service to use this new one because you've got pressure to make sales. So again, it's a mistake I see quite often. So the market perception. Now, if you completely spun it off, a completely separate operating business, and then you could fully participate in that channel, in that market, the way the other companies do. And again, I know some people are going to say, "Well, we had some competitive advantages with our core products." Well, if that's true, if they really fit, okay. If they really fit, for example, you see car dealerships, and you might see a car dealership who opens up a motorcycle dealership or an ATV, 4-wheeler, recreational vehicle type, dealership next door. Okay, well, that's not core. That's a little off, but some of the, you have a service department, you have a finance department. There are some cross pollination, or there are some synergies or shared services that make sense. But a lot of times that is not the way it works. All right, number 6, agility and innovation. Smaller independent entities are often more agile and innovative. A spinoff can create a more entrepreneurial environment, fostering creativity and quicker adaptation to market changes. Again, I think this is what sinks a lot of companies. Again, they bring this new product or service, try to bolt it on, try to make it into their core. It doesn't fit. Okay, so then it becomes part of the big machine that grew this cash cow. Right? I mean, I hope this is making sense. And so what happens is, if you can spin it off and give those people an incentive to grow it, to make it happen, it's going to be a huge difference. Okay. So, again, when something is new and you're in a new market, man, that is really the fun time. But you can't combine something like that with a existing or an aging or a mature product, because it just doesn't fit. So again, I hope all this is making sense. So agility and innovation. Risk management. By spinning off a business unit, a company can isolate specific risks associated with that unit. It can be especially important if the spun-off division has unique risks that are not well aligned with the risk tolerance of the parent company. And again, I'll keep using the same example. This company brought in a product not exactly aligned with its core, and what ended up happening, they had a lot of warranty claims. Okay, because part of that industry is there was these really crazy warranties they had to offer to get in the door. So all of a sudden, guess what? They started having increased warranty claims. Well, guess what? Because of that risk was now spread over to the more profitable side of the business, and they were sucking cash out to pay some of these claims, right? Does that make sense? I hope it does. So, risk management. Employee engagement, number 8. Employees in the spun off entity may be more engaged and motivated when they're part of a smaller, more focused organization. This can positively impact productivity, innovation, and absolutely true. Again, you're trying to shoehorn a new product, you have a few people working on it, but if they're part of this large organization, as part, large cash cow, it's going to be, they say that, the stepchild, it's going to be ignored. And then the employees there, they don't have the resources, they get discouraged, and it's very, very, very tough. So employee engagement is a factor in that. Regulatory and compliance considerations. In some cases, regulatory compliance issues may necessitate the separation of certain business units to ensure adherence to specific industry regulations. Again, I think that goes more towards environmental. Some services may be partial to that, or possibly some raw material. Maybe there's some hazard warnings or something like that. So that is something to keep in mind. Number 10, market conditions. Changes in market conditions, consumer preferences, or technology make it more beneficial for a business to spin off a division to adapt more effectively to those changes. And again, that's the same thing. So if you have a core business and you're operating in a certain way, and then all of a sudden you have this business that doesn't quite fit, the changes in your core business are going to affect that, or vice versa. You need to be able to be nimble and quick and grow that new entity, especially if it is not part of your core. All right. So, and you have to be able to look at the market conditions, because what happens with that new entity, that new product or service, may not be applicable to your core business. Okay. I hope this is making sense. In fact, I worked for a company, years and years ago. It was in the roofing space, and they had a particular roofing product. Well, they ended up getting into related things, but not core. Like, for example, they were getting into a solar and vegetative, like having a green top roof. Well, those were cool things, and those were really, possible market ideas, but it was so different. The way that was sold, the way you went to the building owners, the way you went to architects, it really needed to be a separate entity. But unfortunately, it diluted the everything. So their core business suffered, and then the new products that they're trying to introduce didn't go anywhere. So that's another reason too, because solar has its own. If you look at like traditional roofing, let's say like a residential roofing with shingle roofs, okay, that's pretty much a static business. There's not a lot change on that. You're going to get a roof every 10 to 20 years. If there's hailstorms or damage, it's going to be faster or more frequent. But then you add solar to that. Now, the solar technology has been changing very, very, very rapidly. There's rebates, there's technology updates, where in basic roofing, nothing has changed really that much. So you're trying to combine these two, this static type business with a really dynamic business, and guess what? The market conditions of each will dictate different things. So you start getting confused on that. Especially, imagine having the same sales force selling those two products. And again, they match, they fit, but there's a specialization here that would dictate a separate business unit. All right. Now I'm going to give a couple examples. Again, because I said this concept is a little, I think, going to be hard for some folks, and I'm probably going to get some pushback. But let's look at this one, Alphabet. Now, again, a lot of people don't realize Google's parent company is called Alphabet. So in 2015, Google restructured its operation, formed Alphabet as its parent company. Google became one of the subsidiaries, while other businesses like Waymo, which was a self-driving car concept, Verily, Life Sciences, and Nest, and we've all heard of Nest. Nest is, those thermostats and things like that, became independent operating divisions under Alphabet. So, think about that. Think of the Nest thermostat control in your home. Now, I know we're going to say, oh, it's all hooked to Google. They all talk and they're listening to us, and I get that. But it's a different thing. Google is more of a service. It's a search engine. It's a software. But then you got this Nest, which is a thermostat, and it's actually an actual product that has to go through distribution. It has installation. There's warranties and all that. So I hope you kind of see that. So it made sense to make it a separate, independent operating division under Alphabet. All right, so that's pretty cool. I'll look at this one, General Electric. Now, General Electric, A lot of people know Jack Welch. He was, the guy that really kind of saw the big growth of General Electric or GE. So GE has a history of creating separate divisions for various businesses. One notable example was NBC Universal, which was a major media subsidiary of GE. Now, in 2011, GE sold the controlling stake in NBC to Comcast, eventually leading to the separation of that. So the point is, it was a separate business, but it wasn't really a core fit because GE now I think is structured three ways: GE Healthcare, GE Vernova, and GE Aerospace. So I mean, like I said, GE's typically you think light bulbs and appliances and things like that. So again, you're trying to get in the business with a broadcast company, NBC Universal. Just not a fit to a manufacturing, like an industrial manufacturing company, right? So does that make sense? So they spun it. It was a separate entity. Then finally they just sold it because like this doesn't even fit. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get you to think about. All right, let's look at IBM. IBM is known for evolving its businesses over time. In the 1990s, IBM spun off its printer and hard drive divisions to separate companies, Lexmark and Hitachi Global Strategies. Okay, in addition, they also have several other businesses like Red Hat, NorCloud, Taos. In other words, so IBM's the parent company, but they have all these other separate businesses that are separated. They're not ran, with IBM, banner, and that just helps keep those businesses independent and helps them grow. Now, doesn't mean they can't leverage the financial strength of the parent company, but it's got to be separate. You can't sell all these things up underneath IBM. Okay. All right, let's look at Microsoft. Again, known for Windows, Office, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. They also own Skype, Bing, and LinkedIn. A lot of people don't realize that Microsoft owns LinkedIn. Now, again, think about that. Think about if you were trying to make LinkedIn as part of the Microsoft suite, that would not probably go very well because, you got people who run Apple products and, and all that. But look at that there. I mean, you got Skype, you got Bing, you got LinkedIn and several other smaller companies or subsidiaries. But again, what's Microsoft's core? Microsoft, really their core now is the software. They never really were in the hardware business, but they have all these ancillary type services that are related, but they're different. So that's why they're separate. All right. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So again, if you have a non-core product, spin it off to a separate division. That's all I'm saying. It's that simple. So again, hey, this was probably a shorter episode, but this is part of my manifesto, and I think I told the story. I was on a cruise this past summer, and kind of thought, what are the things that I believe about business and the way business should be ran? Well, this was one of them. Well, the previous podcast was one: don't dilute your core. You got to protect your core business. You got to stay in your core business. Don't drift from it, because if you do, it's going to dilute it, and you're going to have problems. So this one is really the next step. It's like, okay, so if you've got an opportunity for different business or product or service, you want to separate it. Don't make it part of your core business. That's all I'm saying in this. So I'm going to quit beating that dead horse because I think you get it. All right. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is the Platinum Business Break Podcast. It's sponsored by Platinum Business Consulting. The Way Business Should Be, Part 10. Spin-off non-core products and services. Anyway, we'll have another one here in a week or so. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.